So my dad tasked me with getting rid of a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm just gonna throw these away, but I wanted to at least immortalize them. Old tapes, like with my name on it. I recorded God knows what on here. Dinosaur soundtrack, and just a whole bunch of other stuff. I already threw these away, but a bunch of discs, like the TIE Fighter boot disc. Used to need boot discs for that type of thing. And then also Chinese WordStar, you need 12 discs to install it. How big were these? 2 megabytes, 1.44 megabytes, what was it? Garbage. Of all the stuff that was in there, this is my favorite find, is that I found the missing piece. Right there. Oh my goodness, that is fantastic. Oh man, that is fantastic. I thought that was just lost to the ether. So I need to go through this stuff real quick. Some of this stuff. Actually, these are pretty interesting. Mini disc player, Discman. This one was mine. I used this a lot in high school while doing homework. These two were my brothers. He really liked mini discs for some reason. I don't think either one of them work anymore. Who would have thought that a portable disc player would not be able to stand up to much pressure? Also, check this out. Now I see why my parents wanted me to date all of my pictures, so that you could know when you drew it. No date on this one. But was there any kid my age who wasn't making Dragon Ball posters? Probably not. But man, electronic waste is just really scary when you think about it. Just all the electronics that I used to have, why did I do that? That's disgusting. When I think about all the electronics I used to have and no longer have, where are they now? Because I bet you they have not been recycled. They're probably just sitting in a landfill somewhere, which is really scary. You know, this is like my new second stage hipster minimalism. Now, I'm very hesitant to even add anything to my life. It's not even just throwing all of your stuff away. It's not contributing to more clutter in the world as a whole. You know what I mean? For example, when I'm doing video game streaming, I have a couple of things that I could use and that would be really helpful, but I don't want to buy any of those because I don't want to contribute to more electronic waste when I have another method that I can use. What is on this computer? Whose computer was this? What is electronic waste without some VCRs? I actually do still get the odd request for a VCR to DVD transfer, and I always find that really funny because it's like, so you want me to take one dead format and put the video on another dead format. Are you sure that's what you want? You know, this is actually a great metaphor for life, is that you can't wait for everything to be perfect before you go start living your life. And in the same way, you can't wait for technology to be perfect to start trying to innovate and make new technologies. Because while video cassettes are demonstrably terrible, they have to start somewhere. Well, these are both broken. That actually makes my life much easier. Now I know exactly what to do with them. I didn't even realize I had this, but I got an external floppy disk reader. You can actually try to find out what's on InfoDisk, for instance. I know that made sense to me at one time. Finally, we've got these, the Oregon Trail, disc 1 and 2, Number Munchers, and Heretic, shareware version. I'm gonna send these to the Video Game History Foundation, see if they want them. If they don't, they're getting in the trash. This right here was my manual when I was an intern at Midway Games, Corporate Policy and Compliance Manual. Midway Games doesn't even exist anymore. But this is proof that I was paid. Rate $10 an hour, earnings $400 for a week of work, son. Paid me to do literally nothing. Here's an old electronics boutique ad. An old Super Nintendo games and stuff on the back. Super Nintendo games actually advertise Secret of Mana, $70. RoboCop vs. Terminator, $68. Games have gotten so much cheaper, holy cow. Tournament Fighters, $68. Street Fighter 2 Turbo, $74. Oh, there's the Turbo Duo. Okay. So the Turbo graphics did exist. They just barely sold any games for it. No wonder I never had one. The Game Boy Basic. Oh, there's no pack-ins. Okay. Oh, Game Boy games are cheap. Rebel Assault. My brother and I, we had that at one point. Okay, anyways, there's this pull to like hang on to everything and be like, oh, but I want to be able to treasure this stuff forever. You gotta move on. I'm gonna send this to the Video Game History Museum. Hopefully they have some use for it. Let's go to Goodwill, get this stuff out of our life forever, and move on with our lives. So, a couple of thoughts, but I'm gonna start off with a story. When I was in high school trying out for the basketball team, I had a realization that doing wind sprints and suicides would never stop and it would never get easier. There was some notion in my brain, and I think everybody kind of has this notion in different fields, that once you get through the hard part, it stops being hard and it'll get easy. But the truth is, doing anything like that, like being physically fit and physically active, it's a lifestyle change. It's not a destination change. So if you're looking to lose like 50 pounds, if you're looking to be a more sociable person, if you're looking to do more things in your life, if you're looking to be more active, all of these things, there's no hard part that you get through and then you get to your end goal. It's, you have to change the whole momentum of your entire life. Life is all about momentum. You have to start the momentum on whatever it is. Doing a vlog every day, when I get out of the momentum, it's so hard to start back up. Get yourself in that groove, those healthy grooves, and just stick into them. Because once you get in the groove, well, that kind of contradicts what I was saying earlier though, that it gets easier. It gets relatively easier. It never gets any easier to start though. One thing I have learned is that if you wait until you feel like doing something or wait until inspiration strikes, you will never, ever get started on what it is that you want to be doing. That's not to say that every time you don't feel like doing something, that means you should do it. Sometimes that's a sure sign that you shouldn't do it. All I'm saying is you can't wait for everything to be perfect to actually get started. You have to start, even if everything's not perfect. That was probably the biggest hurdle in getting started in so many different things in my life, was making the excuse that everything was not perfect yet, so I couldn't get started. Even if you have like gaps in your knowledge, gaps in your skill set, you gotta start and get some practice. Ooh. I don't even think that you have to be particularly motivated on whatever it is. Getting started and actually doing something is like 90% of the battle. And like 90% of the people don't get past that point. Also, let me be real clear here that I'm not saying I succeed in this all the time. I'm always talking to myself when I'm talking on these vlogs. Never judging other people. Well, by extension I am, but primarily this is aimed at me. Nothing like taking a shower after sweating outside on a super hot day. There's also nothing quite like a carbonated beverage. Oh, why is that so good? I don't understand. Nothing quite like cutting your fingernails. It's like, sometimes it's like taking a shower and cutting your fingernails is just like, you feel like you've got it put together, you know? Now, next on the docket is writing one more song for the episode that's coming up. Speaking of things that I don't really feel like doing, but I know once I get the ball rolling, it's gonna go well, this is one of those. Okay, mission complete. I'm not going to use that stool anymore. My back. Oh. has been a very, very hot summer so far. Oh. When I don't vlog every day, I feel like there's all these things that I'm forgetting to talk about and update you guys on and everything. The new episode of Adventure Archives is done from start to finish, except for the intro and narration and final tweaking and everything. But all the songs are pretty much in, all the scenes are in. It's an hour long of so many different cool things that happened. Maybe not so many, I don't want to get you guys' hopes up too high, but lots of really cool, different, interesting stuff. There's going to be 2 more parts for the road trip, possibly only 1, and maybe it'll be a super long episode. I feel like the 3rd episode might not be meaty enough for an episode on its own, but we'll see. We've got no trips planned at the moment, but we should probably get started on that soon. Hopefully by the end of this week, you will be watching the new road trip episode. That's going to do it for today's vlog. Thank you very much for watching, as always. And not as always, I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, bunghole butt. What is it with kids and their fascination with bunghole and butt and poop and just all these words you're not supposed to say? I mean, I guess that's what the fascination is, that you're not supposed to say it.